Hey everyone, this is the ShutInBakas. My name is Chris. Today we're going to be talking about Spirit Chronicles, or otherwise known as Seri Gen Soki. Sorry if that pronunciation is terrible. I'm still working on it. So this started airing on July 6th. It's all part of the, I guess it's the summer season, and here in the Downland it's the winter season. So yeah, basically this show is an isekai about a 20-year-old college student called Haruto, who dies in a traffic accident, which was kind of brutal, not gonna lie. And he wakes up, but the weird thing is he's incarnated another person's body. So instead of being reincarnated as a child and, working their way up, or just being teleported, he's actually teleported into the body of a different person named Rio. Now, Rio is basically an orphan, an orphan, essentially. An orphan in the slums of the big, fantasy-esque kingdom, who's making a living and just trying to survive with these terrible people, who ended up kidnapping the princess for ransom money, I think. And, yeah, so Rio gets kind of like all heroic and says, okay, I guess I'll go help save the princess, and as he's saving the princess, he gets, captured because they're like, wait, you're the one who stole the princess, how could you? He gets interrogated and beaten half to death until the princess says, hey, he saved my life. And they're like, wait, what? You're telling me this little poor boy saved your life? That's impossible. So then the king and the queen both say, we apologize for that. We're gonna send you to school. Without actually, saying, without even asking. Like, they're just gonna say, we're sending you to school, idiot. Like, this is what he wanted. Like, yes, of course, I really wanted to go to school. Thank you, guys. So he ends up going to school, this prestigious, top-tier academy, and it's, of course, that's the usual. The poor boy is being bullied by the rich nobles because, he's just a peasant. And, of course, he's, showing them up in every way how with knowledge, because he's got the thoughts and knowledge of a 20-year-old college student. And the sword skills of his previous life, which he learned from his grandfather, I think. Which is all very convenient, isn't it? That he still remembers all these things so perfectly. Either way, he goes through his usual shenanigans. Eventually, in an exam, he gets framed for trying to kill the princess again. And he leaves, because he just said, you know what, screw this, I'm out. You guys are just mean at this point. And one of the kids' families reputation was in danger of, nearly being, exposed for being bad or whatever. So they send out an assassin, which is a lolly fox girl, because of course. And the lolly fox girl tries to kill him, but she doesn't really succeed that well, because of course, main character Kun is overpowered. Sort of. And he subdues her, and is able to interrogate her, and later on we find out that she is also from Tokyo, and is almost most definitely the girl from the bus, which Rio, or, Haruto, died on. So technically, it's kind of like a big old meeting together, it's like destiny brought them together or something. So they continue traveling, and they get to the big forest, the world tree, as they call it. Why does every fantasy anime have to have a world tree? Anyway, they get to the world tree. They start camping outside of it. They get attacked by some demi-humans, or beast people, whatever you want to call them. Rio gets his butt kicked, more or less. Something about this fight kind of confuses me, because, I don't know, I just felt like he's not strong, but he's also strong at the same time. He got taken out reasonably easily. I get he was blinded, but I feel like he should have had something in his arsenal to deal with that sort of thing. He had his sensing life forms skill or whatever, but that didn't really work out for him except for dodging a few attacks and then, it's getting one shot by a thunderbolt. But I guess it all worked out in the end, because by the end of it, he got a harem of beast people. which we don't know anything about. That's the weird thing about this show. We meet a whole lot of characters with really interesting designs, and they're very cute, they're very neat, and you'd like to know more about them, because any one of them could potentially be a best girl. But we don't know anything about them. They're basically just cardboard copy-pastes of each other. Like, there's really nothing to distinguish them. And I'm not really sure if that's an anime problem, or if the light novel just wrote this bad, but I feel like these characters are written really terribly because you don't know anything about them or what their personality is, because these beast people, we only saw them for an episode and a half, and then he's off. Like, why go to the effort of designing these intricate character designs and this area just to say, okay, bye, in one episode and run off? And they just skipped over a whole bunch of things. Like, they did a big slideshow or time lapse of Rio's 1 year of in this beast person village at the bottom of the world tree. And it looked like, he was having fun and he was with the village people and enjoying his life there. But we wouldn't know that because we didn't get to see any of it really, except for some, moving frames here and there. So anyway, Rio is still wanting to leave the village because he wants to go to another land. I keep forgetting what the name of it is because it's really not that interesting of a place by the description they gave. And he tells the girl who's grown very attached to him, the assassin girl, she goes, no, I don't want to leave you, Oni-chan, because she started calling him Big Brother. By the way, he knows that the assassin girl is from Tokyo, but he's not telling anyone else it. And the reason everybody hates Rio as a character, or at least I don't like him, is because if he doesn't care, why do we care? The only reason this didn't even need to be an isekai, really. Like, at the moment, this did not need to be an isekai. So, basically, the thing behind Haruko is that, basically, he had a girl, as a child, he had a childhood friend that was a girl. He had to move away, and he promised her that he'd marry her when they came back together. Years later, they're teenagers, he comes back for her, and she's dating someone, I guess. And basically, I guess he got really depressed about that, but for some reason, ever since he came to the world, this new world, he's just kind of neglected anything of what his previous life was. Like, I feel like it's because Rio is... I feel like it's a case of dominant personality, because you've got Rio and Haruto, which are in the same body, which is basically described by this higher spirit lady. And when you inspected him, she said, you've got a human spirit, like, next to your heart. So that basically means that Haruto is just sitting there as a spirit inside of Rio. So, basically, that's got to me thinking, does that mean Rio is going to be slowly changing over the time period, or are the personalities going to swap, sorry? Because if they don't, this is really boring. Rio is a really bland and boring character. He's just so dull. I mean, I know that other shows... I mean, it's really mean to compare this show to such good shows like Konosuba or Jobless Reincarnation, but you can remember those main protagonists. They are just top tier. Like, even if you don't like Jobless Reincarnation's Rudius, because of his perverted nature, at least he's memorable. Try and compare this guy to any of the other isekai protagonists. I can't think of a single thing that makes him actually different overall. Like, he's just another boring, bland character, as far as I'm aware, with a fact that he doesn't care about his previous life, so why should we? Aside from the fact that we're just meeting characters that show up here and there from the other world. It's like... they're really struggling to capture my attention here. I'm on episode 6, by the way. This being a mid-season review. This was very, boring. Very boring. Okay, sorry. I'm getting very stuttered here, because this show had such a good opening, I guess. Like, it had an interesting story to it. Like, okay, guy had childhood friend. he died. He said he was going to marry her, find out that the girlfriend, that the girl has a boyfriend. He ends up dying shortly after in a tragic bus accident. And essentially, he just stops caring. Like, I think his reasoning, I remember watching before, was he doesn't want to remember any of it because it's just painful memories for him. I mean, sure, but like, that's the only interesting part of this isekai, because the whole thing about an isekai is a guy being sent to another world that still, remembers stuff about his old world and thinks about it. At least that's what I think. Because I think people like Jobless Reincarnation, once again, sort of the same thing. Rudy has had a really bad childhood and has nothing but bad memories of his previous world, but he keeps bringing it up because it's so ingrained into his brain that, like, he struggles to deal with people because of the way he was treated in his previous life. So, yeah, I mean, like, they did a much better job in that. And other isekais around the whole goddamn genre have done it so much better than this show. Now, the last thing I want to tap on really quickly is the animation is pretty bad, not gonna lie, I'm sorry. It's done by TMS Studio, and they're well known for Dr. Stone, Rent-A-Girlfriend, Orange, and the Fruits Baskets remake, amongst many other things. Problem is, this show looks terrible. Like, there are a lot of off-model, like, angles. The animation is not fluid whatsoever. Basically, like, you'll just watch the animators just drag the guy across the screen, like, just on a projectile path, just... It's really stupid. And don't get me wrong, the effects in the anime are actually pretty good. Like, the magical effects, they actually look pretty nice. But, like, the world itself, it looks fine. It looks like a fantasy anime. The character designs are really good. Like, honestly, they're individually very good. It's just, you don't get anything from them because you don't talk enough about them. Like, the only girl in this whole show I've actually had enough, like, description about was two. Sorry, there was two of them. And that was Celia, which was the tutor at the prestigious school, and Latifa, which was the assassin girl from Tokyo. And even then, we don't know much about them. Like, those are the only two people that we know about, and we don't even know much about them. I feel like it's got to get better. Like, we're 6 episodes in, they need to put a good impression in, or else no one's going to care about this show, or just forget it outright. That's my personal opinions. Don't get me wrong, I like isekais, but at the moment I'm starting to get a bit bored of them, because stuff like this, where it's just, oh yeah, guy gets reincarnated, but that's where it ends. Like, the old part of his life doesn't matter anymore, or it's extremely generic. Which, to be fair, this one isn't. There's a bit more to, the world, at least. But I think they're pulling shit out of their butts way too much. Like, now he can fly. Like, he was taught how to fly, but how can he fly? They didn't explain it. How is he able to use the spiritual arts? What are they? Didn't explain it. How are they able to use magic or this Ord stuff? They didn't explain it. Like, they're not explaining anything. They're just saying, okay, this is this, and deal with it. So, personally, I have put this at a 6 out of 10 on Mel. I'm not logged in, so you can't actually see my progress so far. But I think that's about as good as it's going to get from me, to be honest, because this show is so boring, and it doesn't actually, like, genuinely, the last episode I watched, which was just like 10 minutes ago, I was actually looking at my watch, like, going, okay, now how long till it's over, so I can make this video. Like, I don't want to hate this show, don't get me wrong, I don't want to hate this. I thought the initial plot was good, but just, it's so dull. Nothing makes sense in this world because they don't explain any of it. Anyway, that's all. I'll do a review at the end of the series when it's finished. If I can even finish it. Like, if it actually continues being this dull, I might just drop it. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Please like the video, it really helps us out. Lets us know that you want to see more mid-season reviews. Also, this video was entirely brought to you by a commenter named Charmouche, which has been interacting with our channel quite a lot recently. Thank you, man, it's been very appreciated. You wanted my opinion on the main character. Here it is really quickly. He's really boring and I don't like him either. Not because he's so generic. I think it's just because his morals are so conflicting. And also he's just so boring. Like, I'm sorry, like, that's just how it is. He's so boring. But anyway, I hope that answered your question, what I think of the main character. Boring. That's it. Like, I don't have much else to say about it. So, hitting the subscribe button is also fantastic. Lets you know when we're uploading. Hitting the bell button will let you know the second we upload, through little notifications. And be sure to follow us on Twitter for some updates, and also comments on stuff I'm watching currently, so you don't have to wait for a video. And of course the questionnaires, which are still coming around, so we still need some questions. Nobody has answered the call for our questions. So, give us a question. It can be, what's your favourite anime? Like, that would be good enough. Like, we'll take anything at this point. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.